Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So obviously we talked earlier about the news of Perkz and Alfari potentially or likely or whatever rumored to be going to Vitality and starting to put together this super team, which is really crazy, really exciting, but they needed an 80 carry still, and it seems like now they might have found their man, and that's going to mean just so many different things for a lot of different teams. So we're going to talk about that. But first, make sure you guys check out the first link in the description below for my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. I would appreciate it so much. My plan is to stream a lot going forward in the future. It's something I'm really, really excited about. So drop a follow, maybe a prime. With that being said, here we go. So the big news coming out. This is from LEC Wooloo. Sources, as part of their super team plan, Carzzy is going to play for Vitality next year. So that is a big deal. That is obviously a very, very big bomb. Carzzy has been rumored to be going all over the place. There was potentially at some time some rumors of him going to North America. I thought that sounded very, very unlikely. I've said that multiple different times now. There was obviously a lot of rumors of him going to G2. There was the allegations of G2 maybe potentially trying to poach him away. There was, Carlos has been tweeting at him a bunch. Everybody's been talking about that. That seemed like a possibility. There was a chance he would stay with Mad Lions. Obviously, they had the weird stuff coming out with Revenant, like flaming him or whatever. But then Mad Lions coming out and defending him. All this weird, crazy stuff. He had a ton of different options. A ton of different people want him. I think he's like 19 years old, and he already has now MSI experience. He's gotten out of groups at Worlds. He's a multiple-time LEC champion. He has an amazing resume, so much skill, so much talent, so much potential, and he's really young. He can be, your franchise player for many, many years to come, and that's very, very exciting and has a ton of value. But obviously, when a player like Carzzy is one of the best available players on the market, and he's rumored to a bunch of different teams, once he actually decides to go with a team, once he decides, hey, I'm headed to Vitality, that is a major, major fallout for all of the rest of the teams involved. So that is definitely something we need to talk about. But there was a couple of other tweets here. So from what Wooloo was saying, apparently Carzzy was rumored to be Perkz' 80 carry. It's like Perkz, we heard that he wants to come over. He wants to kind of form his own roster. He wants to have a lot of say in the players he's getting. And apparently Perkz and Carzzy decided that they were going to be playing together, just like Perkz and Alfari decided they were going to be playing together. So it was kind of, trying to figure out how they're going to be able to make things work. And in the end, this could be why Perkz ended up on Vitality instead of Fnatic. I know a lot of people had questions about that. Like, if Fnatic was an option, if Fnatic wanted Perkz and could have got Alfari too, why did he not end up there? Maybe Perkz decided that he wants to play with Carzzy a lot for whatever reason. Maybe he sees a lot of talent potential, whatever. Maybe they're friends. I don't know the whole story, but this could be one of the major reasons why this is all happening on Vitality as opposed to another roster. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then Wooloo says, this is kind of weird because Wooloo says, if an agreement is found, Carzzy will play alongside support Labrov. Both players were teammates in Berlin International Gaming in 2019, which is cool. Obviously, they have some history there, so hopefully there'll be some built-in synergy. Hopefully they will, just kind of seamlessly be able to come back together and play right away. But to me, the wording on all these tweets is kind of weird. Carzzy, he says Carzzy is going to play for Vitality next year. Then he says if an agreement is found. So, obviously, it's only November 1st. Offseason, nothing's going to be official until November 16th. So these are just verbal agreements in place. So yes, nothing is signed, the ink's not dry, nothing like that just yet. So that's kind of why he's saying if an agreement is placed. But then I would just question, the wording of the first tweet or whatever. But man, this is a massive, massive bomb. Obviously, Vitality went from being a kind of exciting team with self-made and a bunch of money, and now they are using this money to go get some big players, get some big signings, some big deals, and all of a sudden they have a legitimate super team, kind of the likes that we haven't really seen since, G2 a couple of years ago. I really think Vitality has the potential to be on that level. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean they are going to be as good as that team, because obviously that team had a ton of insane players. They fit perfectly into the meta. They played really, really well together. I mean, having Prime Caps as your mid laner with Yankos, like that, the G2 team's crazy, but at least now Vitality has a very, very good team in place with a ton of awesome carry potential, ton of awesome players at a lot of different positions, and they're definitely putting the LEC and potentially, depending on how things go, the world on notice. And I think this is very, very exciting that, the Vitality super team meme is finally dead, but man, I just can't get over how expensive this whole thing must have been. But obviously, now the fallout for the rest of the teams is we heard a lot about Reckless Vitality. It seems like Reckless in a really, really weird spot now. Like, where's he going to end up? Now that he's not going to Vitality, which doesn't surprise me at all. That's what I had been saying. People were rumoring Reckless to Vitality and Perkz to Vitality, and I kept saying that there's no way that both of those are going to happen, or at least it's very, very unlikely that both of those are going to happen. And I really thought that Perkz to Vitality was much more likely, just because if they want to form a super team, Perkz and Alfari is, more valuable to a super team than just Reckless. There's other AD carry options. AD carry is, plentiful in Europe, and one player is going to be less than two. So yeah, I just thought that was very, very interesting. But now all of a sudden, Reckless in a weird spot. Is Reckless going to end up at Mad Lions? Because obviously Mad Lions now needs an AD carry. Are they just going to call up Flockhead to be their new AD carry? Is Flockhead going to leave and go to G2 Arctic? Is Flockhead going to leave and go to G2? Because now G2 is in a weird spot because they were in the running for Carzzy. And yes, we know that G2 obviously really, really wants Hansama as well, but is Rogue going to sell off Hansama? Is Hansama going to get sold off to another team that's not G2? There's all of a sudden so many different dominoes and pieces at the AD carry position. Now, obviously, once one domino falls, we're going to start seeing the rest of them go. But there was definitely a lot of teams that were waiting to see what was going to happen with Carzzy. A lot of teams that were offering Carzzy and kind of just waiting to see what was going to happen because they were still really, really hopeful. Obviously, the North American teams are now in a little bit of a worse spot because there's not as much good AD carry play over in North America. So Carzzy being off the market means, hey, now Team Liquid, TSM, Cloud9, whoever, they need to go a little bit harder for Reckless, a little bit harder for Hansama because there's only a couple of these guys left. Obviously, also, too, this now puts Crown Shot on the market, and I don't believe Crown Shot to be in that, that S tier of AD carries that everyone's going to be super, super going after, but I think Crown Shot's a little bit underrated at this point. I do still think he's very, very capable and pretty damn good. Again, he was on a Vitality team that I don't think was very good this last season. So yeah, there's just so many different moving parts here. So many different teams are impacted by this news. And today's been massive. All these crazy big stories coming out, but there is still more crazy big stories to come out still. So, G2, I really, really expect them to up their offer for Hansama now. I think things are really, really heating up. I believe that they really thought that they were going to be where Carzzy ended up. So I do think this will be a little bit of a shock and surprise to people. But now there's just a couple less players available. Alfari's off the market, Perkz is off the market, Carzzy's off the market. They're all ending up on one team. So now the other 9 teams, or 19 teams if you throw in North America as well, really need to ramp stuff up, really need to get stuff going, because in this game of musical chairs, there's only so many players, there's only so many chairs. Somebody's going to end up empty-handed. Somebody's going to end up disappointed. And again, with only 3 world slots, you need to make the best moves possible. You need to end up with a good competitive roster. So I'm glad we have some big news coming out. I'm glad we're getting some big stories. But man, the offseason is all of a sudden getting way, way, way more interesting. Not only for the big moves, but for the moves that aren't happening as well. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this new full Vitality super team? How impressed with them are you? What do you think they're going to do? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.